You're watching Hidden Coast Surf Online, private surf coaching in Nosara, Costa Rica. For more details, please visit hiddencoastsurf.com.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Hidden Coast Online. My name's Ollie Davis, this is video number 7 and today we're going to be talking about introduction to cutbacks. This is very much geared towards those of you who are intermediate surfers, and following on from the last video, we've just figured out how to get on the line and we're starting to think about doing carving turns on the open face of the wave. And now, so this video today is going to be one on from that, talking about how we can start to do multiple carving turns on a wave to actually bring us back to the steeper section of the wave so we can continue going down the line with speed. We will cover in some detail the more advanced cutbacks, but for the vast majority of this video, we're going to be gearing this towards those of you who are just starting to introduce cutbacks into your skill set. Well, before we start talking exactly about what a cutback is, we're just going to talk about the scenario of going down the line. Now that we have figured out how to go down the line of an unbroken wave, we're going to find, and we've talked about this in previous videos, we're going to find that the wave is going to come to an end potentially in one of two ways, okay? So either the wave is going to flatten out in front of you and we're going to end up coming off the back, or it's going to present white water in front of you, in which case we're going to get our down the line path interrupted by this white water, forcing us down low on the wave. Typically those two situations, the softening and coming off the back or a white water interruption, will cause potentially a premature ending to your wave, okay? So what we're going to talk about today and discuss is dealing with that one scenario, the first scenario where the wave softens in front of you. In subsequent videos, we're going to talk about white water interruptions, how to generate speed and how to flow over those sections. But in this specific video today, we're going to be talking about how to move the board back away from the soft part of the wave, back to the steeper part of the wave so we can continue going down the line with speed. So in the last video, we talked about starting to think about doing carving turns on the open face of the wave. Now the key factor here is the ability to get the weight back so we can release the nose up into the air so that we're able to turn back towards the beach, and actually in the case of the cutback, beyond the beach and actually back on ourselves towards the white water and then back into the wave again. So for now, think of it as two carving turns. So it's imperative that you've done some practice doing carving turns on the open face of the wave so that we can now start to link two turns together. So when you're learning how to do cutbacks, you want to think of it in stages, okay? And if we're thinking of two carving turns, you've got stage 1, which is the first turn back to the white water, and then the second turn, which is the smaller, lower velocity turn that pops you back down the line, sort of points your board back down the line again once you cut back towards the white water. So the best way to learn how to do cutbacks is to divide these things into two, okay, and just practice the stage 1 part of the cutback and then eventually introducing the stage 2 part of the cutback. So we're going to start off learning how to do that stage 1 cutback, okay? And like we talked about in the last video, you can practice doing this at the end of the wave. You can actually practice doing this on any part of the wave. So long as you're on the open green face, you can do a nice big stage 1 cutback. Once you've got really good at doing them, it's very easy to add on the stage 2 afterwards. But I very much recommend dividing these two and practicing them one at a time. So like we said in the last video, you want to do a bunch of carving turns so that you get really happy with the handling of the board and it becomes something intuitive to you rather than having to think about it really hard in the moment. So basically the way to do that is just practice, 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 practice. And then eventually what we want to start doing is spying opportunities where the wave is actually flattening in front of us and therefore it is time to do a carving turn. And then we'll start thinking about, okay, well, I'm going to do my first stage turn back to the white water here. And maybe, you know, once we hit the white water, we fall off and that's okay. What we want to do is get really happy doing those turns, and then eventually we can add in the second turn. So what we're going to do is first of all do a bunch of carving turns on the open face of the wave. Then we're going to look for opportunities where a cutback is necessary, but we just do stage 1. And then we start to add the stage 2, and suddenly we're doing cutbacks, and you'll very much feel like you're moving up the ladder of the sort of levels of ability here. It's really fun, and it gets you, like we talked about in the last video, it gets you out of the prison of just going down the line, down the line, down the line, down the line, down the line. So now we can see we're cruising down the line, and we're just doing these turns very, very softly. So it'll happen again now. Step back, 1, 2. And what that does, if we just rewind for a second, is just before the first cutback, we can see we're starting to get a little bit of space now between the whitewater and the board. And this is the time that we want to start thinking about doing cutbacks. When we start to outrun the wave and the section of wave in front of us is becoming very unsteep, and it means it's not going to push us along. So we realise that we need to get back towards where the whitewater is. So this is our opportunity to do a cutback. So now we're going to do the first turn, so there's a little step back there to bring the nose up out of the water, and we're going to turn back towards the white water, but just gently at the moment. We're not doing very big changes of direction. And then the second turn comes along to bring us back into the section and allowing us to go back down the line. But you see now, here is where the white water is breaking, and we're now nice and close into the powerful part of the wave again, so we've returned ourselves back to the powerful part of the wave. And if we allow it to play a little bit more, you can see that very quickly we start to outrun it again. So we've got, again, a very soft section here, and the white water is way, way back here. Now this is just weight from the board here. Here's the white water. So we're going to go for another turn. Step back, 1, 2. Okay, and then step forward again to continue trimming down the line. So I want you to imagine the following scenario, okay? We're going down the line, and you find maybe you're on a big board and it's pretty fast, and maybe the wave is peeling kind of slowly, and so you're putting some distance. You start to put some distance between you and the white water, okay? And what's in front of you is a soft, unbroken section, and the further you get away from the white water, the less steep the wave is underneath your feet. And what happens is it starts to go very slack. Your speed will decrease, and eventually we will come off the back of the wave, where there won't be sufficient push in the wave to actually make us go along. So a good rule of thumb is once we've put 2 board lengths, okay, so whatever board it is that you're on, if you put 2 board lengths between yourself and the white water, okay, so for a long board that's going to be like nigh on 20 feet, for a short board it's going to be more like 12 or 13 feet. Then it's time to start thinking about cutting back, and what we want to do is step back and turn back towards the beach. And when you think about it, what that's going to do is that is going to stop or slow your progress down the line and allow that white water to catch back up with you. And then what we're going to do is bring the board back down the line again so that we can continue going down the line, but now we've rejoined the wave in a steeper, more pushy part of it. So it means that rather than coming off the back like we would have done before, we're actually going to continue going down the line with plenty of speed and power. So once you master doing cutbacks, okay, it'll upgrade your surfing fun, okay? The amount of fun you're having in surfing will considerably go up. The reason why I'm a big, big fan of cutbacks is that not only are they super fun and they look really cool when you do them, but also they carry a little bit more weight than that, than other surfing maneuvers, because they're very, very functional. Meaning that you need to do a cutback in order to keep surfing the wave. So it means that they carry a lot of relevance. So they're fun, they look really good, but they have a very, very specific function. And when you start cutting back and you start putting those maneuvers together, whoo, it is fun. Your surfing starts to flow really, really nicely and seamlessly. So being able to do the cutback allows you to deal with the situation where you, as the surfer, are outrunning the pace of the wave, i.e. the peel speed of the wave is slower than how fast you're going down the line, and so we're quickly finding ourselves in a slack, soft part of the wave that we need to take evasive action not to actually come off the back. In the next video, we're going to be starting to talk about generating speed so that we can deal with the other scenario, which is when the wave, the peel speed of the wave, starts to outrun us. And in generating speed, we can keep up with it and actually move on in another subsequent video where we can even start to talk about floating over the top of sections that arrive in front of us. And so that's what we're going to start talking about in the next video.